Okay, I'm gonna say something that might make you a little angry. Or, you know what? It might even make you cry. Here it is. What if I told you that this laziness you've been battling your entire life just isn't real? Yeah, you heard me. Laziness, it doesn't exist. The whole idea is basically a lie. It's just a label someone, somewhere, made up to make us feel guilty for what? Resting? It doesn't even come close to describing what's really going on inside you when you just can't seem to get anything done. Just think about it for a second. The last time this happened to you, you got this to-do list that's a mile long, right? But where are you? You're on the couch, just doom scrolling. I'll be honest, were you actually relaxing? No way. Your brain was probably screaming at you, get up, do something, why are you so useless? See, you weren't enjoying your rest, you were suffering through it. And that right there is the key. So here's the deal, and this is so important. What you're going through, it is not a character flaw. It's not a moral failure, it's a biological state. Your body isn't being lazy, it's your nervous system literally pulling the emergency brake. And this state, it has a name. It's called functional freeze. And just understanding it, well, that's the first step to finally getting out of it. All right, so let's get into the biology behind this. What is actually happening in your body when you physically just cannot get off the couch? Because this isn't about willpower, not at all. It's about how you're wired. Okay, so we've all heard of fight or flight, right? It's when your body gets flooded with adrenaline so you can either fight a threat or run away from it. But turns out there's a third option that we don't talk about nearly enough. Freeze. This is what happens when a threat feels totally inescapable. Like picture a gazelle that's just been caught by a lion. What does it do? Its body goes limp. It's a shutdown designed to numb the pain and prepare for, well, the end. And here's the absolutely wild part for us modern humans. Your nervous system, it's ancient. It evolved to handle, lions. It literally can't tell the difference between an actual lion and a mountain of debt, or that overflowing email inbox, or family drama, or past trauma. Your brain sees all these chronic stressors as a life-or-death predator that you can't fight and you can't run from. So what's the only option left? It freezes. It just shuts down. There's a real scientific term for this, and it's actually pretty fascinating. It's called a dorsal vagal shutdown. Basically, your vagus nerve, which is a huge part of regulating your internal organs, just slams on the emergency brake. It puts your whole system into this kind of power-saving mode to protect you from what it thinks is an overwhelming threat. So all those times someone called you unmotivated, they were just wrong. You weren't being lazy, you were having a deep, profound survival response. So how does this whole biological shutdown actually show up in our day-to-day lives? Because, it's usually a lot more subtle than just being stuck in bed all day. Let's go through some of the symptoms and just see if any of these ring a bell. Symptom number 1, doom scrolling. And I mean that feeling when you're not even remotely entertained by what you're watching. You're just swiping and swiping and swiping. Why? Because that constant low-grade stimulation is literally numbing your brain. It's not fun. It's not entertainment. It's digital anesthesia. It's a way to escape the absolute chaos going on in your own head. Okay, next up, we have what's called the impossible task. This is a big one. It could be something tiny, like a single coffee cup on your desk or a sock on the floor. Logically, you know it would take, 10 seconds to deal with, but you just physically cannot make your body do it. The effort feels absolutely monumental, like you're being asked to climb Mount Everest. That feeling? That's the paralysis of the freeze state. And number 3, this is a big one for so many of us, procrastination. But not just any procrastination. I'm talking about waiting until the absolute very, very last second to do, anything. It feels so chaotic, right? So stressful. But there's a really specific biological reason your body resorts to this when it's in a shutdown state. So why? Why on earth would your body choose this super high-stress strategy, waiting until the final frantic moment? Well, the answer really shows you just how desperately your system is trying to keep you going. It's because you need the panic. Think about it. Your normal energy systems are offline. You're in power-saving mode. So the only way to get enough juice to actually do the thing is with a massive jolt of adrenaline and cortisol. That sheer terror of an approaching deadline is the only thing powerful enough to override the shutdown. You are quite literally using your own anxiety as fuel. Okay, so where does a response like this even come from? It doesn't just appear out of nowhere. For a lot of people, this isn't some new pattern. It's a deeply learned behavior. and it often starts way back in childhood. Think about it. If you grew up in a home that felt chaotic, maybe there was a lot of yelling or impossible expectations or just unpredictability, you learned some critical lessons really early on. You learned that fighting back, dangerous. Running away, not an option. So what was left? You learned to go quiet, to make yourself small, to basically disappear. Freezing up wasn't a choice. It was your best survival tactic. And this, right here, is such a powerful idea. You know, the good child, the one who never caused any trouble, always sat quietly and got praised for being so easy? Well, a lot of the time, that child wasn't calm. That child was frozen. And so now, as an adult, whenever life gets stressful, what happens? That old programming just kicks right back in. You go back to the only strategy that ever kept you safe when you were little. You disappear into a shutdown. This kind of childhood programming can lead to all sorts of things, like something called revenge bedtime procrastination. You know what I'm talking about. You've had a whole day of feeling completely powerless, and even though you know you have to be up in a few hours, you stay up until 3 a.m. just scrolling. Why do we do this? It's because the night is finally yours. It's the only time you feel like you have any control. You're literally trading precious sleep for just a few hours of freedom. Okay, so we've figured out what the freeze is, we get the biology behind it, and we've even looked at where it might have come from. So now for the big question, how do we start to thaw out? How do you actually begin to unfreeze a nervous system that might have been stuck like this for years? All right, here are 3 things you can start with. And seriously, the first one is the most important of all. You have to stop shaming yourself. Calling yourself lazy just digs the hole deeper. It actually reinforces the freeze. You cannot bully yourself into getting better. It just doesn't work. Instead, try thanking your body for working so hard to protect you. Step 2 is something called do it badly. Look, perfectionism is the enemy here. It causes paralysis. So just do something badly. Pick up one sock. Send one messy email. Any movement, no matter how imperfect, sends a signal to your brain that you're not trapped. And finally, number 3, physically shake it off. I mean it. Animals in the wild do this after a threat is gone. So dance, jump around, shake your arms and legs, do whatever you need to do to release all that stored up survival energy. So let's just land on this thought, because if you take away only one thing, let it be this. You are not lazy. You're not broken. You are a survivor whose nervous system got stuck in survival mode. And it's just been stuck there for a really, really long time. So maybe it's time to send a new message. It's time to let your body and your nervous system, and maybe that little kid inside you know that the threat has passed. The war is over. And it is finally safe to rest. And I don't mean that frozen, stressed out kind of rest. I mean real, deep, restorative rest.